Boys, we got a fight announcement. The UFC is putting on its first event in France. Yes, France, the country that has banned MMA for so long and just recently allowed MMA in their country. They're having their first event there on September 3rd, with the main event being Ciryl Gane versus Tai Tuivasa. And yes, some people might be surprised about that because we all thought it was going to be Tai Tuivasa versus Tom Aspinall. And potentially they put together Ciryl Gane and Curtis Blaydes or something. Man, this is going to be a French beatdown in the home country as well. Having Tai Tuivasa fight someone like Ciryl Gane is bad enough, let alone put him into enemy territory for the first event in France. There's a lot going against Tai Tuivasa on this one. I really wonder what the crowd is going to be like though. But Tuivasa versus Gane is really putting Tai to the test here, because this may be his hardest matchup in the entire division by far. A brawler versus a technical kickboxer who has a massive 6-inch reach advantage. He's 2 inches taller, he's way faster, he's just way more technical of a fighter overall, not only in the stand-up, which everybody knows, even on the ground he's better than Tai is. He perhaps is even better in the clinch than Tai Tuivasa. This may be a fight that's going to make Ciryl Gane look really good, because if you go back and remember Tai's last loss, that was to JDS, an old, declining, withering away JDS. He was getting picked apart from a distance just by JDS's boxing. The footwork was giving him a problem, the angles are giving him a problem. Imagine that times 10 with Ciryl Gane, who also implements kicks, knees, elbows, is top-notch moving backwards and striking you. Whereas that's really JDS's biggest weakness, and even JDS doing that, he was tagging Tai Tuivasa and later TKO'd him. And yes, Tai does have the leg kicks. That may be one of his biggest weapons in the fight to slow down Ciryl Gane's movement. But at the same time, Gane is always switching stances. He's constantly active with his feet, not just moving around, but switching, which is going to allow him to land a lot of jabs, a lot of straights from a distance whenever the leg kicks are coming at him, even taking Tai down from the leg kicks. And he's won fights by submission in the UFC as well. And we do know that Ciryl Gane has a good arm triangle, which is actually the way that Tai Tuivasa got submitted by Sergey Spivak. That's mostly due to Tai Tuivasa's general lack of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu defense. And just by looking at the way Tai defends grappling and wrestling exchanges, he's usually just trying to stand up, explode out from the bottom, but a guy like Ciryl Gane who can catch his heel, who can catch his neck, that is extremely dangerous. This makes Tai Tuivasa's grappling defense extremely dangerous to go for. Not only is Ciryl Gane the best striker Tai's ever fought before, not only is he the most intelligent fighter Tai's ever fought before, not only is he the most athletic and the fastest fighter Tai's ever fought before, Ciryl Gane is probably number 1 or number 2 best submission artist that Tai Tuivasa's ever fought before. And the number 1 guy maybe is Sergey Spivak, who did submit Tai Tuivasa with an arm triangle. That is why a lot of these other guys could not capitalize on the grappling moments against Tai Tuivasa, because they're just not grapplers. Derek Lewis is not a grappler. Greg Hardy is not a grappler. Steph Fitzgerald can submit you, but that fight never really went to the ground, and the fight was completely outclassed on the feet. Arlovsky isn't so much of a submission artist. Cyril Asker, Rashad Coulter, Augusto Sakai may be a brown belt, but he's never won by a submission in his entire career. The only guy that submitted Tai Tuivasa was Sergey Spivak. Tai Tuivasa's biggest chance of winning here is land some leg kicks and just get inside and brawl. He cannot make this technical overall. He needs to make it dirty. He needs to get in close. He needs to start swinging bombs, because in a 5-rounder, he's not going to lasso Ciryl Gane as well. So he has to make something happen early explosively, as hard as that is going to be. Try to get into the clinch. Maybe he can make something work from there, but Gane is elite in the clinch when it comes to an MMA fighter. He could trip him out from there. He can land a lot of elbows, a lot of knees. He's really good at framing and pivoting away from shots. Tai having his hands full is an understatement. His way of winning the fight is the fact that this is heavyweight, and anything can happen if you land the right shot. That's his way of winning the fight. But looking at the fact that Francis Ngannou couldn't even do it, he could barely even land a glove on Ciryl Gane, makes it difficult to see Tai Tuivasa doing. So my early prediction in this fight, I'm going to go with Ciryl Gane, and I'm going to go by a 3rd round submission. I give his chances of winning the fight somewhere around 80 to 85%. This might look like Ciryl Gane versus Derek Lewis 2.0. And what does this mean for the rest of the division? We're probably going to have Tom Aspinall versus Curtis Blaydes. Those two guys are open. They're the next 2 contenders in the division. And Stipe is most likely going to fight John Jones. And Francis is looking to box Tyson Fury. So the top of the heavyweight division is pretty booked, and it's allowing a lot of good heavyweight fights to be put together. I would have liked to see Ciryl Gane versus Curtis Blaydes and Tom Aspinall versus Tai Tuivasa. I think those would have been closer fights. But I think Aspinall versus Blaydes is a pretty good one. The only one that's most likely not going to be competitive is this one, Ciryl Gane versus Tai Tuivasa. And leave in the comments below, what do you guys think about this fight? Do you think it's too much for Tuivasa? Where do you see these guys going next? If Ciryl Gane beats Tai Tuivasa and Francis Ngannou vacates the belt, he probably deserves a title shot. Most likely Stipe vs Jones is for the interim. Once Ngannou's out, Jones or Stipe will be promoted to, I guess, the undisputed champion. That could set up a good fight against Ciryl Gane. If Tai Tuivasa wins, I'm pretty sure they're going to throw him up for a title shot as well. If Tai Tuivasa loses, he should fight the loser of Aspinall versus Blades. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to give the video a thumbs up. Enjoy my content, make sure to subscribe, make sure to hit the bell, and I'll see you guys in the next video.